Welcome to iHeartGeek.
And welcome to another fun-filled episode of iHeartGeek.
Right.
This makes me feel so much
better.
better.
Screw you, Spike. I could cheer if I want to. You understand me? Because you're not here to tell me otherwise.
No, I've recorded a few supplementals in the last week or so, and I'm like, yeah, and I say it, and I don't hear anything. It's like, oh, I feel sad.
Blame Spike, man. It's all his fault.
No, actually, I blame that for all the awesome guests we've been having that have been sacrificing their time and coming and talking to me.
That's true.
So I can't gripe too much.
We have had some awesome guests. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, we have a lot of amazing panelists today, and we're missing one. So, yeah. But before I get to our fantastic panelist, I want to talk about our sponsor.
Our sponsors.
We have a great sponsor today. Well, we have two sponsors, but one we're going to refer to now. iHeartGeek is brought to you by Cyrogenics. It's good enough for Walt's head. It's good enough for you.
Oh.
You're never going to get ahead in the podcast.
Oh. Why do you think they made Frozen?
Oh.
That's cold.
Well played.
Don't go cryogenic over it.
Nice. Okay, so let me do our introductions first. To the other side of the table, my buddy Kosh. How you doing, bud?
How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing outstanding. Pixar or old school Disney animation?
Can we have both?
Which one's your favorite?
Both?
Nope.
Both?
No.
Pick one.
Both.
Pick one.
Pick the right
Oh.
one.
Be a man. Pick one. Do it. Do it now. Do it.
Pixar.
Pixar.
Oh, and now you razz me about my choice?
Otherwise, would it be the show?
Right.
I mean, come on. And over to my right is my good buddy, the guy that is wrong more often than not. We have my good buddy, PB&Jason. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm not going to be wrong at all this episode.
I'm just saying, PB, if Stan Lee says you're wrong, then
Stan Lee did say you're wrong.
That's true. And Sean, that was an awesome
That was
meme.
amazing.
That was the best
Epic,
meme.
Sean.
So good.
That
Thank
was
you.
Epic.
So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the timbre of the tone of the show just went up like quite a few octaves, and it's not Spike going through puberty. We have a couple of really awesome guest panelists today. Well, first up we have friend of the show that's been on the show twice now. Twice now.
This will be 3 times.
We have Katie May. How you doing, darling?
I am fantastic. I'm on vacation, so I can't complain about a single thing.
Vacation, so you come and record with us. That's awesome.
Exactly.
That's pathetic.
I don't have to say that.
There are so many other things in Vegas you could be doing right
Exactly.
now.
Oh my
It's
God.
that or stay home with
Go
teenagers.
have some fun. Jeez.
Is anything better than the Geek Show? I mean, come on.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Not a
This is
single
why
thing.
you're my favorite. This is why you keep coming on. You're awesome.
It goes Thunder from Down Under, Chippendales, and then iHeartGeek Show.
Chippendale,
right?
like
Right.
the Disney Chippendale?
Yeah,
Which-
Chippendale.
Yeah, Chippendale.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, Chippendale.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Well,
Tom Selleck and-
they all have bow ties.
Listen, I would take the gorgeous men at this table over any of those Chippendale dancers. I'm just saying.
I feel so good about myself right now. Thank
not
you for
greasy?
lying.
That was a well-needed boost of confidence. That was awesome. Thank you.
And now we have first timer to the show. We have a friend to a lot of Disney characters. We have somebody that's been my good friend for the last couple of years that has helped me keep my sanity. We have the Munchkin. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing, Deb?
I'm doing outstanding. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say on that.
But,
No,
but if you could record her smile, it would say it all.
Oh, it is.
It's a whole bunch of pixie dust. That's what they infuse in us.
So have you guys figured out yet we're doing a Disney Parks episode?
We are.
Yes.
Nice.
I probably put something about that in the title of the show. I'm sure I wrote it.
That'd be all right.
I just heard Disney and came running. So
She ran all the way from Texas.
She did and didn't stop. It was amazing. She ran through 2 pair of shoes. It was amazing. You know, we need to get a shoe
She
company
just
to be a
likes
sponsor.
running.
Oh, we had to do that one, didn't we? We brought you on for a really specific reason. And that is because you worked at Disney Parks for a while.
It wasn't because none of us could loosen that screw under the sink, and she was the only one who could get down there.
Well, she's more of a man than any of us. We know.
That's not what I meant, but okay.
So, we actually were kind of wondering if you can tell us some of the etiquette and fun stuff as far as working at Disney. I know that once you work for Disney, you're working for them for life, because
it feels like it. Yes.
Yes, they give you the chip behind your neck and all that.
Oh wait, is she gonna
true.
explode if she says the wrong thing?
She might.
There's gonna be confetti everywhere.
So I want to
It's
be
pixie
very,
dust,
very
actually.
careful.
Yes.
I want to be very careful with what we ask. So can you give us like any of the really cool traditions? Like when you first start working for Disney, like is there any like cool traditions you guys have or anything like that when you guys start?
Well, funny, you've actually said the word twice. Traditions is
Tradition.
It's tradition.
It's that's the actual name of the orientation that we go to, and it's 2 days.
I didn't know that, folks. Yes.
For a lack of better, shoving Disney down your throat so that you get full of pixie dust. So they teach you about the beginnings of Disney and how Walt Disney started, and then how he began the animation, and how he decided on Disneyland, and then how he went from Disneyland
To Disney World.
to Disney World.
To Euro Disney.
Yeah.
it's
when
We don't
I
talk
actually,
about that though, do we?
Yeah.
You have 2 full days of Disney.
You have 2 full days of Disney.
That is
and
like heaven. That's
yeah,
fantastic.
you get to teach somebody something, and you learn about the beginnings of Mickey Mouse.
Do you do a bunch of group projects?
You kind of do.
I figured. Do you learn how to not point?
Yeah, you have to 2 fingers or a whole hand.
Why is that?
It's it's rude, I guess, when you point with 1 finger.
In some cultures, yes.
Yeah, so because Disney is so global, we want to make sure that everybody's feel welcome. You use 2 fingers or 1 hand. You don't use the OK sign because OK.
Oh yes, we weren't allowed to
Yes,
use that
yeah,
in the military.
In certain languages, I think Brazilian, which a bunch of Brazilians always visit the park, and if you do okay, it's like the middle finger to them. So
Yeah, well, there's
wow.
certain Middle Eastern countries that I visited in the military that means
Right.
butthole, and I just
I can see
myself.
how important that would be. I mean, you were talking Disneyland, which bring the entire world, every culture, every
Yeah.
country. Yeah, I could see how this would be very important.
Even with when I was in Hong Kong Disney, we'd go on the rides and have the pictures, and then we'd do the peace sign. Like in Japan, that's an awesome symbol. But then we went to go check our pictures, and our pictures were omitted, and we're like, we didn't do anything wrong? Like, what's happened? They're like, no, this is the middle finger in Chinese.
yeah.
So you can't. Yeah, you got to be
Wow.
very careful on how you do
Interesting.
things.
So yeah, we'll get to more questions about Disney and as far as like conspiracy theories and fun stuff coming up. We have a couple things we have to actually handle first. So one of those things is one of my favorite segments. We have Who Beats Who.
And now it's time for a showdown.
Okay, on this episode of Who Beats Who, we have our the results of we did Deathstroke versus Deadpool, and we did Wolverine versus X-23.
Yes, we did.
Now we have some different people, so I don't know how these are going to turn out now, since there's different people at the table.
I guess what? Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to see.
We'll
Although,
figure some out.
well, I tell you what, it was
Our Facebook and Twitter. Woo!
Well,
on both of them.
Facebook, Twitter, and actually most of the main panel. It was pretty decisive.
Yeah, which I'm
both these battles.
surprised about.
Well, why don't we start with the more decisive? We'll start with Wolverine X-23. Okay, so that one was a slaughter in favor,
especially in
of
Twitter.
I disagree.
Okay, and
I disagree.
okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Why do you disagree, Kaj?
So
I
the
think-
slaughter went towards
Wolverine.
yeah,
and
Wolverine
X-23
was
just
the
getting
slaughter.
demolished.
Yes.
Well,
And
let's hear Kaj. Let's go ahead, Kaj.
I think that she's a more fierce fighter than what Logan is now,
Morals.
especially
Zero.
in later in years now. Like he's gotten over his like wild streak, and he's kind of got a little bit more sense about him. And she still just has that primal. If she flips out, she's not going to be able to be stopped. And I wish that somebody would have. Or the people would have actually made it more of a tighter competition than what it was.
Yeah,
tell
well, they
you
have the
what.
same healing factor.
I'll tell
True.
you what. Take all the ferocity in the world, and it makes no difference up against 150 years of experience.
I'll give you that. Now, X-23 does have the one very cool extra blade that Logan doesn't have, which is pretty cool. The one in the foot. Or in both feet, actually.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to make a difference, but
But
they're the same person, basically.
Yeah,
But
because
just-
girls kick a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
she does.
Right.
Right.
But
No, we
I'm
really
serious.
do. Like, that's-
Just stop for a minute and think Wolverine and his fighting history. He has taken on everybody. He has practically beaten, even though he's lost as well, but he's practically beaten everybody. From the Hulk to Captain America to Ninjas of the Hand to Yakuza to Mob to, supervillains that you think were untouchable. He's beaten them all.
Okay, but just to play devil's advocate, she was bred more to kill than Logan was. Logan, it was more of a learned thing. With Laura Kinney, she was from birth programmed. You will kill. You will kill. And that's something she's had to fight against. Logan, on the other hand, it's more of a learned behavior. And this is just yes, I think Wolverine wins hands down. However, I think that should be a factor.
She's in the equivalency of fighting's second grade compared to Wolverine, and that's the problem.
Well,
look, if she were 150 years and he were 150 years, there might be a different outcome. That savage edge that you're talking about, the no morals and all that, I would buy it if they had the same experience. But he outclasses her in every way due to experience.
Fair enough.
Whatever she could bring to the table, he's seen it. There's no way she could surprise him. She has no chance.
The feminist in me really wants to disagree with you, but the realist in me is like, well, yeah, Wolverine.
And I'm kind of thinking that just because Hugh Jackman plays Wolverine, that everybody's like, everybody's just signing, oh yeah, Hugh Jackman, we left him, so it's Wolverine. That's why he's.
Yeah, it's not a popularity
But
contest.
he's also the one we all grew up with.
That's true.
We just know him.
And as soon as we're done with this, I got to tell you something about that. What do you think, Munchkin?
I think Wolverine too, just because that's who I've grown up with. You know, and knowing that.
So just because you know the character better,
he can take on anybody.
Okay, so let's look at the numbers right now. Okay, so Facebook and Twitter put Wolverine. So that's two votes.
Yep.
Jason,
Wolverine.
Dub, I say Wolverine.
It's 4.
We have Kaj who's saying X-23.
4-1.
4-1. Munchkin.
5-1.
5-1. Yeah. Okay, and for the icing on the cake.
Wolverine?
There you go. 6-1. So guess who's going to the semifinals?
Sorry.
Wolverine. Now, before I go on to this next, did you guys hear the news?
Which news?
We have an interview coming up.
Yes.
Speaking of which.
Yes, Mr. Cal Dodd, who was the original voice of Wolverine from the 90s series X-Men.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we are hugely excited about this. This will be on May 1st that we're going to be releasing this. We have a little contest going real quick.
He did the X-Men the animated series.
Yes, he did. And he also did all the old early the X-Men video game that we've talked about in the past. That was his voice on there.
In a lot of ways, that's the first Wolverine a lot of people saw. It's the first animated Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's the second. So he's the second person that's ever played him, but we'll get into all that later.
Right.
Now, but he is the most recognizable voice by far. We're having a contest. Send us your questions. What do you want us to ask Wolverine? The best question will be asked to Wolverine. And if you're lucky, maybe he's even going to say your name in the Wolverine voice.
Oh, it's on. I want to win.
Okay, so next up we have Deathstroke versus Deadpool. This one should be a lot tighter.
I was surprised that it wasn't a lot tighter at first.
It's popularity contest.
Well, but when I logicked it out, so just to let everyone know, Deadpool definitely won this one on Twitter won
and
this one on Facebook.
Not by as much.
By as much. There were more.
Plenty.
Right. But this one was hard for me because, one, I like Deathstroke way better. Deathstroke is, frankly, a better fighter, okay, if you come down to it. And he's a tactician on the level with Batman. But the problem is, if that's what you're bringing to the table against that ridiculous healing factor and that complete unpredictable mind, I don't care how good a tactician you are, and that's what separates it. He's gonna find the chink in Deathstroke's very rigid tactics. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm 100% on board with PB. Oh my gosh, I need to wash my mouth out. I need a shower.
How do you feel? How do you feel about
That's
that?
twice in a row you agreed with him.
You know what? You should be getting used to this by now because it keeps happening.
Kosh.
I'm going to go with Deadpool.
Outstanding.
I like the Merc with the mouth. I think you're right. I think he's Deathstroke is more of like order and discipline, and he is a great fighter.
He's the better tactician by far. Let's be honest.
But you can't outrule the chaos factor of Deadpool. Like he will, if he sees a weakness, he will exploit it, no matter how small or trivial. He will find a way to get to you.
He's not afraid to die.
Yeah.
In fact,
I don't even think it's even if he see a weakness. He would just act so unpredictably.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Chaos theory.
Yeah, that you can't tactically plan for that. You know?
And on top of that, just with his mouth, people just love him because of his sarcasm, but that's a weapon that he uses because if he gets you mad, you're going to screw up.
In very much the same way that's Spider-Man. That's part of his tactic. That's part of his tactic. Katie May?
Well, I think Kaj made some really valid points, and to quote 1980s Michael Keaton, chaos is great.
There you go. Wow. Okay, so it's unanimous.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is going to be Wolverine versus Deadpool.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh
that's
my
gonna be hard.
gosh.
It's
gonna be
going
interesting.
down.
I'm so excited for this.
So we have determined the two semifinal matches.
Yes, it is going to be Deadpool versus Wolverine and Spider-Man versus Black Panther.
Oh my gosh.
I'm excited about this.
I am too. Can we start talking about it now?
No. No. We have a lot. We have to talk. In fact, we got to talk about probably one of the more important things we've talked about. Kaj, you want to tell us about our friend that's...
Absolutely. Well, we always have sponsors here on the show that we just we have a little fun with, and it's the beginning of the show. Today, we actually have a real sponsor. This is the first ever real sponsor. So these guys are a friend of the show's. It's called The Apprentice of the Wild. They're actually run by Sean Critchfield and Jamie Revere. And what it is it's set out in Los Angeles, and it's targeted at parents that live in Los Angeles that want to get their kids out into the wilderness, out into the outdoors.
And Vegas is not too far away, guys.
Vegas is not too far away either, 3 hours, and then you can have a nice little wilderness adventure with them. And they do all sorts of different things with this. They have different programs that you can sign up for, anything from tracking to actually building a shelter. Like if you don't have a tent or a sleeping bag, they'll actually create a shelter for you. Wow. You can actually, they have a thing where they make edible plants. They'll look out into the landscape, find out what plants you can eat. They'll make stuff out of it as a stew or even like granola bars they have. It's great. You actually get to start a fire from scratch. Not with matches, not with a lighter, but physical with the
So it's like Boy Scouts on steroids.
Yeah, kind of. This is the stuff that I did when I was a kid, and I miss this kind of stuff. This is so important to a kid.
Amazing.
Well, this sounds totally cool, but I do have to ask, how does survivalist skills pertain and apply to a geek show?
Well, I'm just kind of thinking that, we do talk a lot about geek stuff as far as video games or movies or TV or whatever. But, a geek can be anybody that's really enthused or really...
About anything.
That loves what they do. And definitely the Adventures of the Wild sponsors and cast, they love what they do. Like Sean actually has been doing this for many, many years now, and now he wants to give that knowledge out to other people and starting with kids. Like even the adults can do it as well. So, good on you. He's a wilderness geek.
Awesome. So how do you get a hold of these guys? Because I'm going to send my kids.
Nice. For an indefinite amount of time.
Forever.
So,
Yeah, that's my question.
Will he take 6-year-olds?
When can I send my children, and how long will they stay?
Exactly. Well, if you want to look at them on the Facebook, you can get a hold of them on the Facebook at Apprentice of the Wild. Just look them up on Facebook. If you're wanting to email them so that you can actually get some courses and maybe actually start enlisting, it is Apprentice of the Wild, one word, at gmail.com.
Okay. Cool.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. This is... Go to their Facebook. What was the Facebook page again?
It's Apprentice of the Wild, Los Angeles.
Okay.
And then it should pop up on the Facebook page, and you can just click on there, and then you can subscribe to them. Or if you're looking at their email itself so that they can actually just give you direct information, it is Apprentice of the Wild, all one word, at gmail.com.
That is amazing.
I'm digging this. That's awesome.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking into this for my kids. That's no BS. I'm actually going to be looking into this for my kids.
I'm wishing I had been sent there as a kid, because these are all things that I would not know how to do if I was stuck in the wilderness. I go into the wilderness.
Kids grow up in the cities anymore. When I was a kid, that's what we did. And kids are missing that a lot.
They are.
I think it's, I mean, the geek stuff is important. The obsessing and knowing your stuff is important, but I think this is really important, too.
I can attest to some survivalist type stuff I did as a kid as well in the midst of the city, but this sounds fantastic.
I'm just saying, like, all I'm saying is, like, if there's a zombie apocalypse, you should all attend Dependence of the Wild in LA because at least you're going to survive. So that's
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, I'm running straight to Sean and Jamie if I
Right.
even hear that there might be a zombie apocalypse.
Nice. Okay, well, let's move on a little bit. I want to talk because I never get to write this stuff into the show, and I'm so happy that I'm going to write this. I got to write this into the show today. Tell me about, I don't know, different conspiracy theory. Oh, don't freak out, PB. Don't freak out, PB. We're going to talk conspiracy theories.
No, I'll tell you what, the reason
Something else.
I'm not going to freak out on this one because this isn't your stupid fan theories. This is actually widely.
See, he blames this as if they're my theories. No, they're not my theories. They're stuff I read and find.
And
You
then
make them your own.
theories.
You make them your own, and you own them, and you cherish them like
They're
a kid.
beautiful.
They're
beautiful.
not.
Oh, yes, they
but
are.
anyway, to finish what I was saying, these are widely discussed conspiracy theories. So no, I'm not freaking out over here this time.
Okay, can I throw out my favorite one I've ever heard? I don't know if it's true or not, but there is the theory that Walt Disney's head is in one of the parks somewhere in a non-disclosed area. Because let's be honest, who's ever going to be able to take over?
Do you really want to
Disneyland?
freak out the children that way?
Yes,
I
yes,
think
do.
it's under one of the teacups in It's a Small World. I'm pretty sure.
I think the souls of the or Walt Disney's soul is in one of the children. It has to look constantly.
Well, think about it. It's got to be
Yes.
kept.
Oh,
No, it's got to be
Could be
kept
there.
cold. It's at the top of the Matterhorn.
I would, 2 words, people. Haunted mansion.
Well, that's its own conspiracy theory. I mean, you might know how many people drop their ashes in the haunted mansion.
I've heard of a bunch of people doing that. I've heard of people maybe, hey, Tinkerbell, when you go flying, instead of your pixie dust, can you spread my father's ashes?
Wow! And I
There's
heard
been weird requests
there's
that-
actually training for what you guys are supposed to do when this happens.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, you know,
What are you supposed to do?
you're supposed to be nice and friendly and, oh no, thank you though, and just back away slowly and have,
Smile and nod. Don't make eye contact.
Smile and nod, boys, smile and nod,
Well, that must contribute to the, dozens of ghosts that are supposed to be
Oh,
at Disneyland.
yeah.
supposedly. Have you ever run into any of this stuff? I'm a skeptic on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, me too.
But do you ever hear of anything like this? Like, well, maybe.
I mean, Haunted Mansion, always, because they've got the little scenarios with the ghosts where they're dancing in the ballrooms and everything, and people have done behind the scene tours and behind the magic tours, as they're called, and at night, and they've actually seen when the animatronics are not going and the lights are not going.
In Small Worlds?
They've seen
No, in Haunted
things
Mansion.
in
Oh.
Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
They've seen people walking down Main Street at Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom.
Do you buy into any of it? Or do you think it's people who want to see what they want to see?
I think people want to see what they want to see, but I've heard of accidents that have almost related in fatalities at Walt Disney World because nobody actually dies on Disney property.
Ever.
Is that your?
Ever?
Well,
Is that said with a wink?
Yes.
Okay.
They
Oh, yes.
levitate
Big
above
time.
ground, so they're not technically on the
It was
property.
maybe about a year ago that a video came out where there was the camera footage of someone walking along Main Street, a ghost figure type thing walking along Main Street that everybody was saying was Walt. Does anybody remember that one?
Was that at Magic Kingdom or was that at Disneyland?
I believe it was a Disney. I don't know which one. Actually, now that you say that, I don't remember. But I remember watching the video and thinking, it looks very cool and very convincing, and it also could be a really good bit of fake. So I don't know if
It's probably a really good bit of fake.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's so easy to do that stuff nowadays. Let's be honest.
yeah.
I heard that there's a ghost that runs along the monorail
Oh, I heard
in
about that one.
Disneyland.
Yeah, I've heard of that one, but I haven't seen it or had any friends of mine because I have friends that actually work in most of the parks.
Okay.
Still,
How about Walt in his apartment?
The light comes on.
I've heard of the light coming on, but some people say that that's just the electricians every once in a while playing a joke on people. And then there's, his apartment at Disneyland, and then there's above Main Street at Magic Kingdom in Florida. Every window has somebody's name on it that's contributed to, the building of it.
I'm incredibly skeptical of ghosts, but if I were ever going to believe that, that's where there could definitely, where I would believe that people saw stuff.
I always figured it would be the Pirates of the Caribbean because I heard a rumor that they used real skeletons. When
Original,
they built
that was a
in
fact.
the original
actually.
Pirates of the
Oh, wow.
Caribbean. So I figured that would be the one.
Well, they've since been replaced.
I heard
but
a
when
rumor
they
that the
first
skull
opened,
is still real though.
I heard they replaced everything because that was just
Well,
some
it all
bad
depends
juju.
on who you listen to.
Right.
Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it is. But I heard that originally, just for the realism factor, they put in real bones. Now people caught wind of that, and over the years they took it all out and replaced it with paper mache or whatever.
Well, I mean, certain areas where the parks are built on sacred ground, like a whole bunch of land in Walt Disney World that they kind of bought parcel by parcel, was said to be a former Indian burial ground and
Well,
everything.
that'll do it
So
every time.
they've got that. So
Haven't these people seen Poltergeist?
Or any 80s scary movie.
Read any Stephen King book?
Right.
that's why Tokyo Disneyland and the one in Shanghai, they actually built land like in Japan. Mm-hmm. They built it over the water, but they built land, and they built the park on the land.
They created
they created
whole new
land.
Their own
land.
island,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
But that park's not actually owned by Walt Disney World.
But it's also
by the
not
Disney
haunted, so that works
right.
out.
True. Yeah. The Oriental Land Company actually owns Tokyo Disneyland and pays for the name.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they still follow all the Disney rules
Yeah.
and everything like that, but it's not owned by the
Okay.
Disney
So
outright.
So let me ask you this: what did you do at Disneyland?
I was friends with Mickey Mouse and
You got a job
know.
just to be friends with people?
How
I need
awesome
to get
is
a job
that?
like
I'm
that.
a super nice person. I'm super friendly.
We know that you're full of crap on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Who was your favorite friend that you helped out?
Oh,
This is all said with a wink. If you guys can't figure it out, come on.
it depended on what I was helping my friends do. If I was helping my friends meet people, that just walk up into the different countries or at the Magic Kingdom, like in Toontown or anything like that. I loved helping out Mickey. I loved helping out Quasimodo.
Oh, Quasimodo.
I really loved helping out Pooh Bear.
I
Winnie
could
the Pooh.
see you being friends with Pooh Bear. Did you ever get stuck with your hand in the honey pot?
Pooh Bear lost his honey pot when he became a little bit shorter.
No.
He used to be really,
Munchkin? Uh-huh.
he used to be really tall, and he used to carry his honey pot on his head. But he got a little shorter and a little rounder from his up downs, touch the grounds, and Pooh Bear was nice and fun to do, and Robin Hood was great.
Nice.
Yeah, getting rounder. I know about that. So what friends did you maybe not like helping out so much?
Oh, gosh, I kind of liked everything that I did. Like, a lot of people didn't like being friends with Quasimodo because, he's always picked on and he might be hurt. Or
But he's so lovable. I love Quasimodo.
the little hump and everything.
How do you
Yeah.
not
I
love
mean, he's-
Quasimodo? I mean,
I mean,
it's good enough for
He
Esmeralda.
wasn't a bad guy. He wasn't like rude to people. He was he was always
He's just a sweetie.
Yeah. If you guys know the Three Caballeros, Jose, Panchito, and Donald Duck.
right.
Jose and Panchito, mainly Jose. I did not like being friends with him. He's just a little bad parrot, and
Is he a little rude?
he's a little rude. He's hurtful. So.
Goodness.
So, now there's also the rumor, as far as the princesses that are the people that help the princesses. That
Calm down, Katie. Calm down.
That they're not always the nicest of
But I
people.
heard the word princess. What was I gonna
Right.
do, PB?
So is it as far as a personal thing? Is there a lot of the snobbery that happens with the friends of the princesses?
Oh, of course.
What?
I mean,
no, don't say that.
well, I mean,
They're all magical and love everyone.
yes, they
Yeah,
do.
sure.
Okay, thank you. I feel better.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay.
Of course they do.
Now you can
Wink.
tell the truth. It's okay.
There's a certain aura, I would say, about some of the princesses. Like,
Well, you kind of have to have that to get the part, I'm sure.
yeah, so it's the way that they're drawn. They're not always drawn
Gotcha.
politely. So, but some of them were really polite, and some of them took their beauty regimen a little too.
Seriously.
Did you have
serious.
diva princesses?
Oh, of course.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, think about the stepsisters.
Oh,
in-
oh,
in
goodness
Cinderella.
gracious.
Think about how lovely they are.
Oh yes,
you
they're
know.
just absolutely darling. You
And then,
would
you
definitely
know,
want to spend a whole day with them, wouldn't you?
The Cruella de Vil. Think about her.
Evil Queen.
Evil Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Queen.
So tell me, what's like your favorite reaction you've ever had when you're helping out these people with the kids?
Well,
Do you have a favorite? Is there anything that comes to
I
mind?
actually have a lot.
Give me a couple.
I mean, think about. I'm assuming most of you guys are parents or aunts or uncles. That feeling when a child walks for the first time on their own,
Yes.
or like when they give up their pacifier or something like that. Like that's something that the parents would be holding the baby, and Mickey Mouse would be down on the knee, like holding his arms out, and the baby would be like, "Oh, I see this mouse on the TV all the time," And they're like 5 feet away from you, and the baby just starts stumbling and just wide-eyed and just starts walking towards Mickey Mouse.
That's where the real
and
magic
everything.
happens.
And I'm crying. Parents are crying.
Baby's happy.
The baby's happy. Mickey Mouse is just holding his arms out, and then you see Pluto like look over and he's like, what's going on? And that's just awesome. And then you've got the there's Give Kids a World. It's a foundation that actually has a village in Orlando that Give Kids a World. If you don't know what it is, it's terminally ill kids, whether they have cancer, tumors, anything like that. Sorry, pulling at the heartstrings, just a tiny bit.
We were doing so well a second
yeah.
ago.
But it's those, what do you want? What's your last
It's like a Make-A-Wish type,
It's a Make-A-Wish. It's called Give
Right.
Kids the World, Make-A-Wish.
Right.
And those kind of like, I want to go see Mickey. I want to, so you help out, and, you see they have buttons and everything like that, and if there's, a 45-minute wait, they get to the front of the line, because
Of course.
you don't know if they're going to make it through the day.
If anybody gripes
every
about that, they
second.
kiss my butt.
No, I'll tell you
Right.
what,
Every second is
it's
precious.
Yeah.
it's beautiful and terrible on equal levels.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's
Heartbreaking.
yet amazing
Yeah.
at the same time.
Absolutely, yes.
And then the other fun things is I did parades and shows, and I got to do trips and filmings. I was on the Wayne Brady show. I was on the.
You were?
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you put any of these up on our Facebook page?
If I find them?
Okay, I would
yeah.
really
Yes,
I
appreciate
think
it.
Rosie O'Donnell, my brothers also helped out, and they were on Full House and other things like that. But like, I did the world famous Walt Disney World Very Merry Christmas Parade, and
Nice.
we would do like park openings. I got a chance to open the Animal Kingdom, Disney's Animal Kingdom, when it opened up in 1998.
Nice.
So
That is
I get to be on the
amazing.
mainstream parade once too with the high school band.
yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was totally cool.
I don't know if it's like a dirtbag thing to ask. Do you get like because you have to work holidays and all that with Disney? Do you get paid more for that, or is that just kind of like whatever? I'm just curious.
We get there. You didn't really do it for the pay, and that's a good PC way to say that we didn't get paid crap.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's not supposed to be a career. there's a lot of people that have been there since 1971, since, that I know. And there's some people that would come like on a college program kind of thing, like during the summer they would do the thing and then leave. It's holiday pay. You would get holiday pay plus your pay. If you worked more than 8 hours, you get time and a half. More than 14 hours, you would get.
Ooh, that's a long day.
Yeah. Well, you got to think about rehearsals and stuff for people that do shows and stuff. So if you go out over 14 hours, you get what's called double time. You get twice the amount of pay.
That's nice.
That's
now, say you come back, you leave your shift, you come back less than 8 hours. Mm-hmm. You get what's called turnaround pay. You come back in at the same rate that you left the night before.
Nice.
So if you work double time, okay, you'd come back in on double time. If you left on overtime, if you left like 10 hours on overtime, you'd come back, work 4 hours of overtime rate, and then the rest of the day would be double time.
Oh, I would definitely be
Nice.
working
Wow.
like 14 hours, off for 7 hours, coming right back
And
again.
the
If they let
overtime-
you, come on now.
Depending on who
They
you're
didn't get
helping, and because there's certain people that help certain different characters and shows and everything, it would you would be able to have overtime, but
Nice.
it also sucked because you lived 3 people to an apartment.
Excellent.
Oh.
So, okay, in addition to like benefits of being a Disney employee, did they do employee free days or party type things or stuff like that?
Well, I worked there during the 25th anniversary, and they do Christmas stuff from basically November through like the half of January. Now they do it like the coupons are available all year, but you get, rather than 20% off your merchandise for the first less than 3 years, you get 20% off. Over 3 years, you get 35% off. It went up to 50% off merchandise in
nice.
the park
Wow.
and food and stuff like that. Like, they didn't shut down the park, for special
Yeah,
events.
are they open every day?
They're open every day.
Yeah,
The only
right.
time that when I worked there, and this was the first time ever that the park closed, was September 11th. They opened the
Right.
park, and then they closed the park. They never opened Disneyland because of the time difference.
Right.
But I remember being there, and you're in a fantasy world, literally, and having to tell people, hey, the park's closing, and you can't really tell them what's going on.
Because that would be negative.
Yeah, and then the other times that it's closed is when the hurricanes have come through Florida.
Right.
But other than that, they don't close.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, they get packed capacity, but
Now, last question, because then we really do have to move on.
yeah.
Okay, I've heard horror stories on how bad some of the smell is when you help some of the
Oh, my goodness.
Do you have any awesome horror stories about that?
Wow.
No, she doesn't.
No,
Well, you never had to help the beast, though, right?
he's a stinky dude. He is hard to wash.
Just thinking, like with those
his
car
little-
wash sprayers, you just hit him on that.
You can wash his pants. He can wash his little pants. His little Hulk pants. 'Cause, they don't go all the way down to the ground, and
Here, take these.
But his fur, you saw in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
They get him in the hairdryer.
Just
and
sort of Febreze him.
Nice.
Febreze was a really good friend when Febreze came out, and but there would be like 30 costumes, and you might get ringworm. And
So I imagine
not.
with all the Star Wars stuff coming, the Chewbacca costume is going to be in a similar.
But you're going to have somebody
Situation.
12 feet tall. So
Right.
a munchkin could never be friends with Chewbacca.
No.
So ringworm, but not lice, right, guys?
No,
because
no,
there's no
no,
lice
no,
in Disney World.
No.
Because that would be unhappy.
Right. You always want to keep the happiest place on the earth.
Exactly.
No, but there is bed bugs.
And then, and then everybody would be itchy.
A scratchy show.
They would be sneezy too.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And then grumpy, and then
And they'd have to call Doc.
And
Be-
it's super sleepy.
Wow, are we going through the stages of recovery here?
dwarf stages.
A little bit about dopey.
this is
Or
much
stages of
therapy.
addiction.
The 7 steps.
Yeah.
The 7.
Okay, so wow, that was, I don't know if that's more information than we all wanted, but this was awesome. Okay, so let's move on to our main event.
now it's time for the main event.
Okay, so our main event today, we're going to be discussing our top 5 favorite Disney rides or attractions. Yeah, we have. I have a couple of honorable mentions on top of it, and a couple of mine are because they don't exist anymore, and it makes me so sad.
Yeah.
So let's start with our number 5, and this is probably nobody else's top, but the Hall of Presidents, Robot Abe Lincoln. That is one of my happiest memories as a kid. My dad loved going to that. And it's always been such a great speech. It's always inspiring. I love that attraction. It took me a long time. I mean, I was really young when I went for the first time. I thought he was an actor that had to stand there and sit there all day long.
Oh, goodness me.
Holy wow.
So at least you didn't think it was the real Abe Lincoln, though, right?
No.
All right.
No, but we went to that right after we went on the now defunct ride that they miniaturized you, and you went into the Atom.
Honey,
You
I
remember
the
that?
Atom,
Honey, I
yes.
Shrunk the Audience.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that became Captain EO, and then it became Star Tours in Disneyland anyway.
Yeah.
Disney World.
Well, you know
Yeah.
the Hall of Presidents came from conversations with Abe, which was at the World's Fair.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I did know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice. Yes, Steve Martin introduced all that. That's because they have a big video. Steve Martin does
Yeah.
that whole introduction now, so that's kind of
So
cool.
that's one of the
Something new every
original
day.
attractions.
Okay, so what is your number 5, Munchkin?
One that is actually defunct now. They actually made it into for Norway. There was a Maelstrom ride where you went through the old school of Norway and went through trolls and
Really?
everything
Oh,
like that.
nice.
And now it is the Frozen
Ugh.
I mean, that's a great
attraction
trade-off,
and ride.
I hate when they take all my
Well,
history.
I know,
away.
they could have had
It was
both
one
of
of
them.
those fun things that like you
Channel Terror,
know,
or Twilight
you
Terror.
went to a tipping point and how you had trolls and they're like back from where you came.
Nice.
You know,
That
it
sounds
was really
amazing.
cool.
I want to ride
That's
that now.
awesome. Right?
Kosh?
Oh, I might get a little bit of criticism over this, but I don't care because
You're wrong.
I have a
I'm
great
kidding.
story, The Jungle Cruise.
That made my list actually.
And just specifically, like I've been to all the Disneyland resorts, but I have to admit one of my favorites is Hong Kong Disney because it's small enough that you can literally do it in like a day, and
No,
it's
see,
amazing.
that's what you
Yeah.
said wrong. The Jungle Cruise is okay.
So,
Hong Kong Disney,
but
no.
In Hong Kong, I don't know if he's there anymore. I think his name was Lou that we had, and it was he took us on the ride, but he had his like Chinese accent as well, and just he would go over and be like, oh, and look it over here at the rhinoceroses. Oh no, don't right, Mr. Rhinoceros, don't put your horn up the guy's butt. No, and we are in tears, like crying about this thing, and then he's like, all right, come back here. I'll be all day. I'll be here every 15 minutes for the rest of my life.
I love the fantastic cheese ball jokes.
Yeah,
That's
it's
amazing.
so
it's
good.
amazing.
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
yes. So Lou, if you're out there, congrats, man. You made my top 5.
Katie May?
Well, I'm sort of the polar opposite of Kaj in that I've only been to one theme park, which was Disneyland, and that was some 20 years ago. But my number 5 is one that I've actually never been to, but I'm still absolutely fascinated with, is Epcot.
Okay.
Epcot Center?
Because I always wanted to see the whole world, but I don't particularly want to pay for plane tickets, so.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah, then you should go during the Food and Wine Festival where you can see like 90
You
different
had me at food, and I fell in love at wine.
You
Let's
had me at
go.
wine. So
rather than the 13, they put little pavilions out and you can taste food and wine from
Oh.
everywhere in the world.
And don't they do an Oktoberfest as well?
That's what it is. It's
That's
it's like
amazing.
September to November.
Ah, love
And
it.
they actually opened
And do you have to leave?
No.
In between September and November, you just...
No,
You just get to lay on a bench. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody does it. It's fine,
Dark
man.
and they're
Beer.
doing something. They're doing something now during the spring. It's called the Flowering Garden. They actually added the food and wine, but it's not as big as the one in.
Nice.
So I have to go twice to compare them, right?
Right.
Go to
Yeah,
one. Go to
Always.
the other
much,
one.
of course.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for that, Munchkin.
PB?
All right, so I'll bang through the rest of my list, but I'm doing an honorable mention first. The Jungle Cruise ride. with my quick story about that. Last time I was in Disneyland was 93, and the time before that was 1989, after I had first met the lovely woman who became my wife. We went on the Jungle Cruise ride I went on it with her and her little sisters, and we got about halfway through, and we came off the tracks. And floated across the lagoon, right over by the natives.
And you enjoyed that?
It's funny because the natives did a song and it went ayo banana na na no, and we listened to that for 90 minutes. Over and over and over. Now the cool thing about that story was how much I bonded with my wife's little sisters, because we were like, and then whenever it would come on, we would just start laughing and laughing because we were stranded on the jungle ride for 90 minutes listening to that song. But once we were rescued by another jungle boat and a cable, we got to go right to the front of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's
Very
the
nice.
least they could do.
Yeah.
All right, but my number 5 would be the first roller coaster I ever rode, the Matterhorn.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
I was actually scared of the snowman, the abominable snowman.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
right
It was
there.
scary.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, my number 4 is going to be the first roller coaster I ever rode, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad.
Oh, my
Okay.
God.
Awesome ride.
Love
Oh, yeah.
that. I mean, and I don't know if you guys knew, depending on which line you get in, I'm sure that Munchkin knows, but depending on which line you get in, it's two different. You can go
Two
on two different
separate-
rides.
okay.
Completely different.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, and I've been to Disneyland for years, but you kind of forget. But I went twice because we got one of the front of the line things. We went twice. It's like, whoa, this is two different rides. This is awesome.
Nice.
So, yeah, that one
crazy.
definitely makes my list. Munchkin, number 4?
One of the first roller coasters that I can remember after getting hired is Space Mountain.
Nice.
Nice. That made my
And
list as well.
I
Yep.
actually have ridden Space Mountain in Orlando, Paris, Disneyland in California, and Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh,
And
amazing.
all 4 of them are completely different.
Really?
The first like slingshot start that I went on was the one in Euro Disney.
Okay.
Because Walt Disney World, you're tick, 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 tick.
Mm-hmm.
And the one in Euro Disney, or Disneyland Paris, whatever they're calling it nowadays, it just
Rude
slingshotted you.
Disneyland.
So, wee Disneyland.
Now, you just like it because you're
Disneyland.
short. If you're tall, there's
yeah,
horror
yeah.
stories that people can like feel the beams above their head.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, no.
Goofy
Okay.
could never ride that.
Right.
Oh, Kosh?
All right. So my number 4 is the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Oh, yeah, with the
I
rain.
love
And
it. Yes,
the rain.
with the tiki room. They had the lemonade slushies.
Yes.
Or
those are good.
the Dole Whips, the Dole Whips, the
Whips,
pineapple
yeah.
whips. Just get 2 of those and just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. And
Okay,
just so
I
much
want that.
colorful.
Hey, you thought it was
Go do
raining.
that.
You thought it was raining.
Yeah, I did absolutely.
Absolutely.
That is too cool.
Katie?
Well, I can tell right now I'm going to be a huge departure from the rest of the group because a roller coaster will never make my top rides.
Okay.
I don't do high and I don't do roller coasters. But my number 4 is going to have to be the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh,
Nice.
It's just so amazing. And the fact that they were able to turn it into, like, it started as a ride and now it's this amazing film franchise and everything. I love when they do something from nothing. That's
Yeah.
just amazing to me.
I find it's completely different from Disneyland to Disney World.
is it?
Is it really?
It is. When you go in Disney land, I know that you go down into like a cellar.
And you finally cool off, yes.
Yeah, and you can
Right,
cool
yeah.
off, and the ride is like right there as you start going into the line. At Walt Disney World, you have to go through more of a queue, and you're down in like the dungeon and stuff like that. So it starts off
I'll
different.
take the cellar over the dungeon.
And it's like, I think Disneyland has more of the dips. It's probably because of the elevation.
Sure.
Because you can't bury anything in Disney World, Walt Disney World. So.
Right. But either way, it wasn't scary. It wasn't
Yeah.
like those crazy, really high roller coasters that the crazy people
Yeah.
go on.
It's just that one big dip.
It's the one.
PB?
My number 4 was a ride I was too scared to get on the first 7 or 8 times I went to Disneyland. But in 1989, the wonderful year of the Jungle Cruise, I first got on the Haunted Mansion.
Nice. You know, I know everybody loves that, and here I get to be PB. You're wrong, because everyone's gonna say that about me. I don't like it. I've never been it doesn't scare me. It's just like, okay.
You might as well just say, "Oh man, now."
No, I say the only thing that's cool is the paintings that stretch out.
Right.
That's cool, but it's always been boring to me.
I like the illusions of it, but the ride itself was kind of
the amount of weight you have.
Well, it's
for
not
nothing.
a thrill ride; it's an illusion ride.
True, but I like all the illusions, but just the ride itself was just kind of like, okay.
Okay, both of you can suck it because
Yeah,
you're both
you just
wrong.
have
I'm
to
not
be
saying
wrong.
it's bad. I'm just saying that
This is not my thing.
Yeah.
A lot of
You're
people don't-
I'd rather go on
and
Space
you're
Mountain.
non-committal.
A lot of
Okay.
people don't know that there's a story. Like,
Oh,
behind
do
it.
tell.
You have to go in with knowing the story, and then you're cool
Yeah.
and understand it. Right.
Well-
All right, then I will go to Disneyland knowing the story and be like, I'll come back and go, yes, that was cool.
So tell us the story.
From what I can kind of remember is like you go through and it's a guy courting a girl, and then right before they get married, she commits suicide, I guess, and she falls out of a window. She either commits suicide or falls out of a window. That's what, like, when you're riding the Haunted Mansion, you go through, and then all of a sudden you're falling backwards. That's her falling backwards. You are her falling backwards.
Okay.
Is that
just
that
like-
actually the story, or did Dub come up with that on a fan theory?
I wouldn't have even come up with
conspiracy.
that. Mine are better than that.
No, but the ride really does sort of tell the story.
It
Yeah,
tells
it
that
does.
story, so yeah. But I don't know the true.
Nice. Okay, my number 3. Now this is nobody picked this, I guarantee. Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse.
Okay.
Now
Yeah,
I have
no,
this
did not
really
pick that.
weird tradition. Every time I go there, I take a quarter and I flick it on the bed. Every time I've ever went, I do it, and then, and I always ask my friends, okay, well, when you go, do that and flick a quarter on there. That way we're hanging out together. It's a stupid tradition, but it's something I've always loved to do, and that's why I like doing it.
How many times have you been there?
Oh,
You want to know how much money is in there?
Exactly.
at least 20?
Okay, so there's at least $8 on the bed.
Ooh,
Nice.
well, no, I've had friends that do it too, so.
Oh,
Oh,
So it's
multiplied
There
by
might be
4.
16.
There's like $32 on there.
Maybe.
There's $8.75. That's what you're talking.
That's not even how much to pay for parking now.
right.
Which is ridiculous. Okay, Munchkin.
Number 3 for me. Wow. I would have to say the Kilimanjaro safaris at Disney Animal Kingdom.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either.
Because they have animals out there, and they have trees from 6 of the 7 continents and everything like that. But you go around and there's a story of you're trying to hunt the poachers and stop the poachers from getting the elephants. But it's really neat because you're actually going through the area where the animals are. Like, obviously they've got the ravines where the lions are not going to be anywhere near the gas. But
What fun is that?
yeah, but you've got the giraffes that are really kind of temperamental, and there's paths that the safari vehicles have to go on because they're tracked, and they've got little tokens where they can tell where the vehicles are just in case one breaks down.
It's like
but-
Bad Jurassic World.
Yeah, kind of. Like little calmer.
Quiet. They're by the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Wait. The giraffe might finally be in labor. No.
It's still
Not
not.
this time either.
But there's been a time, and it was like right before, I think during cast preview of the Animal Kingdom, and a giraffe just laid down in the middle of the track, and you can't
Tell the giraffe what to do.
tell it to move. It's in its own natural environment in the middle of Florida. But yeah,
Nice.
so they were stuck there. And the people on the ride were stuck there for like 2 hours.
That sucks.
I could just say that. I could just see like one of the giraffes is looking at the other one and says, "Hey Benny, watch this."
Oh, hold my beer. Kosh?
My number 3 is Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters.
I haven't seen that one. That's in Cartoon World, right?
It was in Cartoon World. It's in Disneyland, and it's
California
in
Adventure?
I don't think it's in California. Where I had it was Hong Kong Disney, and the only reason why I love it so much is because I'm actually an intergalactic hero. I got like 1 million points on it. Ooh. It was amazing. Yes. I rocked. I just knew where to shoot.
Should I call you Zod or
Zorg? No.
Zorg? Yeah, that's
Nice.
But no.
Zod was the other one.
But yeah, it was like one of those light games where you would go
Yeah.
through the rides and then shoot around and shoot targets and everything. It was just a lot of fun. Just trash
So
talk
like
people.
laser tag, but you're Buzz Lightyear.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's about right.
that
Sounds
fantastic.
awesome.
Let's go do
Sounds
that.
awesome.
Katie?
My number 3 was PB&Jason's number 4. So sorry, you two were wrong. But
was?
The Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing, and
Okay. Enough been said.
and it tells the story.
They are wrong. I agree.
They're very
it's
wrong.
all good.
My number 3 is Pirates of the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, however you decide to say
Caribbean.
it.
I always said Caribbean until the movie came out. Now it's always Caribbean.
Nice.
I think I only say Caribbean when I say that ride. Every other time I say Caribbean.
Okay. My number 2 is actually a show. It is the Bugs Life show.
Okay.
Have you guys done that? You sit down and at the end they say, make sure you stay seated because there's to allow the smaller passenger or smaller people to get out first, and there's a bunch of bugs running under your butt, and there's a stink bug and you smell it, and it's like a 4D show. It's a fun little show.
Nice.
Are they real bugs?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
so
they
I'm
are.
not
They're
going.
real bugs. Yeah, they've really talked.
They've trained them for
Yeah.
many years.
Okay.
Right. Don't step on them. That's fine.
Munchkin?
The Carousel of Progress.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those like it's hot.
It's fun.
You're done with
It's
the
a break.
day. It's a break.
And it's right by the submarine ride.
So I mean, it's one of those, and it's annoying to get your friends to go and have that song. It's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow stuck in their head.
I would
That's
do
the
that
best
all
thing.
day long.
It's progressed
Just
from It's
stay
a
right
Small
there.
World to the Carousel of Progress now.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the Teacup Ride. Dead silence. It's amazing.
You just made dead air happen.
That's awesome. No,
Okay,
because
no. To be fair, it is a classic. I will agree.
it's a classic ride, but no, just me. And you know who you are, my friend. I had a buddy of mine way back in the day. We just loved like any sort of like teacup ride. Like we go to carnivals and they'd have a similar thing like the spinning strawberries.
Sure.
So we would just go up and we would crank that thing as hard as we possibly could.
Absolutely.
And especially we're like, hey, any kids brave enough to to come with us? And they're like, yeah. We get like a couple of teenagers, and they're like, slam, hit their head on the back because they're the
Stop
gravity
the ride,
Yes.
please.
Yay, we're
much fun.
paralyzing teenagers. This is the most fun ever.
Nice.
Woohoo. My number 2 is It's a Small World. Everyone hates it, but
After all.
I could listen to that song and sing it over and
That
over.
makes my
and
honorable
over
mention.
Katie, why don't you
and
do that for us
over.
right now?
It's a small world after all.
Please don't.
That's not.
Please don't.
Okay, that's enough.
That's copyright.
That was
Katie,
yeah, it is.
Katie, you're wrong.
No, actually,
For-
to be fair, that would have made my honorable mention just because it's a great memory with my mom. She loves that. If we go to Disneyland, we have to go. On
Actually, if you go to Hong Kong Disney, it's different. The format's different, and it's not the song doesn't
larger
keep
world
going
there?
over and over again. It does, but it's kind of like on the down low. But they do much more detail in all the countries that they represent.
Yeah.
Which
It's a
is
more
awesome.
vivid world after
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
a sparklier world after all.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Space Mountain.
Nice. Okay, you're that tall and you're going Space Mountain. You're brave, dude.
I put my arms in the car the entire time. And that was another ride, actually, I was afraid to go on and actually got out of the line once. It scared me so
Well,
much.
the rumor was that somebody got their head ripped off because the beams are so low.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, once I
say
actually,
it's not true.
and they're changing
but-
it to Hyperspace Mountain, aren't they? Since
they-
Tomorrowland
Yeah.
is becoming Star Wars Land.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Has it become Star Wars Land yet, or is that still in the process?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Okay, well, I know it's going to, and that's when I'm going back to Disneyland.
That'd
Absolutely.
be great.
Okay, let me throw out. I got to do this as fast as I can. I'm going to throw out my honorable mentions real quick. The now defunct Bear Country with the
Yeah, Bear
banjo
Country.
playing bear
yeah.
named Wendell.
I love-
I'm just saying.
Why would you
love
like
Where'd you
that?
agree?
I don't know.
Have you
sure
asked your parents? Is that how you were named?
No, but
Okay.
my dad used to love that.
Okay. Case in point.
And then the
I
shrink.
see your banjo right behind you.
I actually have one. And then the Shrink Down to the Atom
Okay.
ride, which later became
Journey to the Atom, I think it was.
something like
Yeah.
that. Captain EO.
Good.
And those are my, and I guess Flying Over California, even though that's not really Disneyland. Soaring over.
I was
Yeah,
going
that's
to
cool.
mention that one too. Yeah.
But so on to my number one, which two of those rides later became this, which is Star Tours.
nice.
This has like 63 different scenarios. It's fantastic.
Well, do you remember the original one? Mm-hmm. That had, it was like the other robot, and that would come in. It was like kind of funny, and then he would go through.
And even the line is entertaining on that.
Yeah.
It is fantastic.
Yeah.
wanna go to
It's
that
perfect.
Yeah.
Munchkin?
Honorable mentions. There's a fun ride in Mexico, in the country of Mexico. It's just a little boat ride, and it goes through the little things for Mexico. Let's see. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience at Walt Disney World in Epcot, and then which replaced Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Okay.
I loved Figment and the Dreamfinder, and when they ripped them out, it was kind
Made
of
you
like,
sad.
what? And then they made it Captain EO, and then
And Captain EO was great, by the
then
way.
it went back to, I think actually it's Captain EO again, or Journey. But my number one, because I got to ride it with the lights on, with the music off. I got to ride it in multiple different scenarios. Rock and Roller Coaster at MGM Studios, or I'm sorry, the Hollywood Studios as now. Aerosmith. And
Oh, nice.
Basically, you go to an Aerosmith taping, and they need to get to the LA Coliseum or some kind of concert. So they need to get in a limo, and the guy's like, we need a super stretch. And you get in a super stretch limo, and it's one of those rocket starts.
Oh.
And I've gotten to ride it with the music off, with the lights on, lights off, music off. So all you hear is.
But did you get to ride it with Aerosmith?
Oh,
I got to.
That's why I want to get on.
I
it
got
now.
to help out Mickey Mouse with the motorcade and
oh,
and a
there you
haircut
go.
ceremony with Aerosmith, and I've also gotten to do it with Pat Benatar and Neil Gerardo.
Oh, amazing.
Gosh.
I got a couple of honorable mentions. Splash Mountain. Always
Oh,
good.
how did I forget
Always
that
love
one?
that
Yeah.
one. Haunted Mansion's always good for me as well. What was the other one? Peter Pan's Flight. I remember that back when I was a kid when we got to Autotopia,
Okay.
which is what's it?
Later on became Cars.
which became Cars. But I have to admit, probably my favorite one is still Pirates of the Caribbean.
Very good.
Number one.
Very good.
Well, my only honorable mention is Splash Mountain because that
Okay.
was a lot of fun.
Even though you guys were complaining earlier when we were discussing Song of the South, which that came from.
Okay. Listen, I also like the Zippity Doodah song.
There you go.
But we just ignore everything else. So my number one, my main attraction, and it's not a ride, but it's the princesses. Getting to see all the beautiful princesses, getting to hug the beast,
Nice.
getting to do all of that. That is the magic for me.
Even
I
though
turn
we-
into a little girl again.
Even though we now know what he smells like, still hugging the beast is all right.
It's okay.
Okay.
I
Smells
can
like
hold my breath
Febreze.
for a really long time.
Just a lot of Old Spice.
All right, so two honorable mentions quickly. The submarine ride,
Okay.
where I really did believe you went underwater.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I can't believe I forgot
Wait,
that one.
you don't?
Now, the original, not now with
No,
Nemo.
the original. I have, again,
The Nemo sucks.
Remember, last time I was there was
Yeah.
97, or 93. And another honorable mention was the People Mover when
Oh, yeah.
they turned it into Tron.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Because I'm
Yeah.
a huge Tron fan, and when
Right.
they did that, that was amazing.
All right.
But my number one, and I hate you, Dub, for this because the greatest ride ever is Star Tours.
Thank you.
Yep.
And I've only been on the original. I haven't been on all the variations, which I'm looking forward to someday. But it's the greatest ride, not only in Disneyland. It's the greatest ride ever in the history of rides I've ever been on.
Ever,
maybe.
ever?
Yes,
Maybe.
ever.
Oh,
And
Ever?
also ever?
Yes.
Wow.
Forever?
That's a lot of Evas.
Okay, outstanding. Well, that was a show. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go around the table real quick. And let's start with you, Munchkin. where if you want people to get a hold of you, how do people get a hold of you?
I don't know.
Just on the Facebook page?
Yeah, you can hit me up on the Facebook page. And
Go into
'Cause,
the
yeah,
phone
you-
book and
Answer
just
or not.
start dialing every single number you can.
there you go.
555.
There are phone books still
1212.
around. I mean, I sit on them, but
We're both sitting on one right now.
right.
If you want to get a hold of me, I'm not normally on the Twitter page, but I'm going to try. I know I keep saying that every
say
single
that
episode.
every
I do.
episode.
I think it's just habit
You
that I say
retweeted
that.
something the other day.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a
Something for the show,
a
but
J. I think it was a J or a Q. I think just one
Well,
letter.
get your backside on the Twitter page.
there you go.
But I am mostly on the Facebook page, where you can get me up at the iHeartGeek page, or look at my Facebook page in general. Just say hi. I'll say hi back, and pass it on to Katie May.
Well, unlike Kaj, basically, if I'm awake, I'm on Twitter
Woohoo!
and probably Facebook as well.
Nice.
So on,
She has 3 screens.
Get your backside
actually
off
do.
the Twitter page.
I work in social media, dude. My Twitter, if you want to get me on there, is at AdorkableKatie with the K in the Adorkable and no E at the end of Katie. And if you want to find me on Facebook, I'm always on the iHeartGeek Show page at Katie May.
She is adorkable, I agree.
Okay.
On Twitter, I am at PB_and_Jason. And I am also all over the iHeartGeek Facebook page all the time doing what we do.
Outstanding.
And just so that everybody knows, even his backside is wrong. Just
There you go. And you can get a hold of the show Twitter at iHeartGeekShow. Woo!
Yay! You didn't have the card that time.
I know,
people.
aren't you impressed? You can get a hold of my Twitter if you really want to, at Comic Not Geek. However, I'm the one that runs the Twitter for the show, so you're talking to me, usually, or
Or
something.
one of your identities, anyway.
One of my many voices that talk to me in my head. Get a hold of me. I'm always on the Facebook page. You can do all that fun stuff. And until next time, I'm Dub.
Oh boy, I'm Munchkin.
Nice.
I'm Gotch.
I'm Katie.
I am PB&Jason.
Keep on geeking on.
You've been listening to iHeartGeek. Our Twitter account is at iHeartGeekShow. Hope you enjoyed the show.